Right. Good afternoon, guys. Again, playing Thursday night. Obviously, we talked about the game already and some of the stuff that we liked and some of the stuff we want to work on, and then had some extra time to rest, an extra day to practice and lift, an extra day to get on the road recruiting. But all in all, just all the focus, the entire focus is on just getting better and progressing as a program with our players, both academically and on the football field in the community. And just getting better at just playing harder, playing smarter, working hard to eliminate penalties, keep lifting up our grades, and again, just progress. So that being said, questions, please.
Mario, what are the challenges of preparing for a road game and road crowd regarding the offensive line, and how are they doing in preparing for that?
Well, I mean, the preparation and the process that goes, all the process that go into preparation for going on the road. The only difference is the plane ride, really, because in the off season, the operations director, they do a great job just scouting out the right or the most proximal hotels that have the space, the conference rooms, whatever we need to meet, to walk through. Sometimes we have to have mobility circuits if it's a later game to get the guys up in the morning and make sure they're just not sitting there stagnant and whatnot. So for us, it's you've heard it for 100 years about how all road trips should be a business trip. Home games are business trips, they're just local business trips. And that's the mentality for this is we need to go play our best football. We see progress, we're getting better. That's all we're focused on.
Yeah, the crowd noise, I'm not sure how many people show up for the Temple game, but crowd noise in particular?
We're always prepared for everything when we go on the road.
Seems like their quarterback does a good job of getting the ball out quick. What type of challenge does that pose for your defense when you face a guy like that?
Well, it's not only that he gets it out to the right person. He's an excellent quarterback. He's really well coached. Obviously, the lineage there, right? He just really sharp, really accurate, and he understands front structures. He understands the back end as well. So he is finding windows really effectively. He's getting the ball out. And the offensive line does a good job protecting him as well, because it's not just all quick game. I mean, there's some drop back, there's play action pass, and there's 5, 6, and 7 man protection. So the old line, the backs, the tight ends, I mean, everybody involved in protection, and the scheme itself is challenging, and they find the soft spots in your defense, and they expose opponents.
Mario, there was an article in The Athletic this morning about Shannon Dawson and how he wanted to kind of go for the jugular at the end of the A&M game. How important is that to you? How much did you like that when you were interviewing him and hiring him, that aggressiveness that he brings?
Oh, it's paramount, It's a DNA, it's a trait. It's those positions, require a guy that's a true leader, a guy that has confidence in what he can bring to the table and that instills confidence in the players that are playing in the system. And he does an awesome job of that, and especially in games like that, it's you're not gonna air it out, or you're not gonna take the air out of the ball. You're gonna have to keep scoring and whatnot, and there's no flinch, there's no hesitation in his play calling.
You went out on the road Friday, and I'm just curious, with the encouraging results to this point that you guys are delivering, are you sensing positive feedback from recruits, high school coaches, in relation to the results you guys have had?
Yeah, it's massive. I mean, it is. You see some of the things that are going on. The momentum is real, and the best part about it, it's just beginning. We're just starting to progress. We're still building. We're still working our way towards what we want to be. But the fact that they've gotten to see us get off to a strong start validates a lot. A lot of the stuff that we talked about through the processes of the guys that are coming out in 24, or 25, and 26. So families get to see that, players get to see that, local coaches, it's great to see them. I mean, as an assistant coach, I spent so much time in this community just getting to know people, meeting people, having them at camps, working with them. It was great to be out just kind of on my own, and have my own day where I could just stop into different counties and see different games throughout the course of the weekend. So very productive and very exciting for us, just because of the feedback that we received. The reception that we received was really strong.
We've been seeing the workload increase for Ruben Bain. How's he been handling that as a true freshman? How's everything coming along for him?
Yeah, he handles it like a veteran. the workload will continue to increase for him. And players that prove that they can handle it. He certainly has done that. A great offseason made that possible, right? He gained about 15 pounds of muscle, increased every part of every aspect of strength and explosiveness in his body. His conditioning, we've ramped it up, knowing that he's playing more plays or whatnot. He's also, we haven't incorporated him in some of the special teams, but he is also a guy that serves as a reserve guy on special teams as well. So his play count will continue to go up. He can handle it, and you know what? He's impacting the game. He's not just a guy that's taking reps. He's impacting the game.
Xavier Restrepo's off to a productive start. I guess what impresses you about his approach? It seems like he's been a pretty big spark plug guy for you guys.
Just tough. He's a grinder, relentless about his approach to the game. Always finding work. Always. I mean, I can't tell you how many times practice is over, he's finding extra reps. In the off season, he's training, and then he's finding more time to train back at home. Always working his craft. Just a very driven, motivated guy, and he wants to see Miami do well. Just a true hurricane that wants to do well, wants to see the team do well, and we're blessed to have him. He's playing at a really high level.
That group in general, it's a lot of the same guys, right? But they are definitely producing at a higher level this year compared to last year. Right? Do you see a raised confidence level, and how much is that helping them be productive?
Without a doubt, a great offseason, an offseason along with their teammates, more time spent around the quarterback, the offensive line, a new system that allows or provides opportunities for them to make plays. Their body's changing, right? The way that they move now, their ability to accelerate, decelerate, get in and out of breaks, jump, just balance and body control is different. And then a system and a coordinator and a receivers coach, all those guys. Kevin Beard has done a fantastic job with those guys, working along. He's got good analysts as well, and Coach Cooney and Coach Varner, and then Coach Dawson, of course. The impact that he has had has been tremendous for those guys. So they're excited to play. They're excited to show up to work, and because we throw a lot at them. I mean, last week's practices, they might not have been as rigorous as a regular week practice, but it was hard. We made it hard on purpose. And they're showing up with an appetite to get better. So that's a really good sign as to, hey, we want to be good, and we know we got work to do. We're nowhere near where we want to be.
Mario, Temple was an old Big East conference mate with Miami. I looked it up this morning. Saw you played against them, I think, in '92, and then coached against them in '05. Just any memories of being conference mates with them and going against them?
Memories against them, just always a really tough team. Always had really physical players, well-coached players. In that part of the country, haven't spent time up there working at Rutgers and then just recruiting that area at the different stops. Always impressed with the caliber of football, the caliber of coaching, and they've got a really good staff. I mean, these guys are well coached. They play hard. I mean, they get 11 hats of the football on defense, and on offense, they'll try to knock you back and finish you. And if you're just kind of loafing around downfield, you're going to catch one, right underneath the chin. So these guys, my memories with them, obviously we got a chance to play against them, and again, just always really good football players, always.
I want to ask about Jaden Cohen. We haven't asked you about him yet this season. How's he performing to this point? And I'm curious too, because of where he was at previously, how much does that mentality that he learned there help you guys here with knowing how to handle success and whatnot?
Well, I mean, he's performed extremely well. He's been awesome, and a lot of times offensive linemen, the only time you hear about them is when something doesn't go well. I think it'd be great for you to watch tape to see how physically dominant he has been on so many occasions. And then I think it's a testament to him. It's a testament to the culture here, but you got to ask him, but how much he enjoys the challenges, the way we push him here, the building process here, after being in a program that had won, for so long. I think you'll find some really good stuff there, but his contribution as a teammate, as a player, as a performer has been awesome. It really has, and I think his best football is ahead of him too. Best part about him is you can push him. You can push him. You feel he's getting a little bit, a little bit lax in a technique. You can get right after him, and he responds really well. Awesome human being. And blessed to have him here. He's going to keep kicking butt.
Coach, on Thursday after the game, Tyler said how much he's admired the progression of Emery as a true freshman after fall camp entering the early portion How have you noticed that relationship has benefited each of their production in this expansive offense under Dawson?
Well, I think Coach Dawson has had a tremendous impact on all the quarterbacks, Jakari as well. And, to your question with Emory, yeah, it's been a ton because Emory, when he got here, come springtime, it was a lot, right? Coordinator change, a lot of different things going on. New place, right? First time away from home, so that's a lot coming out of quarterback. But I think both him and Jakari have done a great job taking on this system, taking ownership in the system, just making plays out there. If you watch those guys in practice, you'd feel really confident anytime their number is called or if their number had to be called because of how they're performing. They're ahead of their time a little bit. And again, those are two other guys that we feel their best football's ahead of them too.
At what point did you notice Van Dyke and Emory really gel together on the practice field to the point where they were just knowing each other like the back of their hand and they were to really feed off each other in their production?
At what point did I, one more time?
That relationship really formed, that bond was generated between them on the practice field?
I mean, it's kind of just been forming. It's naturally evolved, very organically, just kind of come about, And I think you're seeing that in different spots on the team, and it's our job as leaders to continue to foster that. You have to. I mean, as you get deeper and deeper into the season, right, your body, you feel a little bit more, and it gets a little bit more challenging and whatnot. And the tighter you are, the better chance you have for success. And we're certainly pushing the envelope as it relates to anything and everything related to team and connecting.
Mario, Jaden Davis, didn't get here, he wasn't here in time for spring, got here in the summer and went through fall camp. How did he kind of learn the system, learn the culture, and basically learn it well enough to be playing so well for his first few games?
Yeah, he's a stud. I mean, he knows ball. He was born and raised in the profession and the industry, with his father being a coach for such a long time. Complete professional in the way he approaches everything. He is a great athlete, and he has a natural sense for, very instinctive, just a very natural sense for not only the passing game, but for formations, motions, understanding splits, and what they mean as it relates to certain down and distance situations. So, and he's an awesome human being. Again, that's a consistent theme, right? The guys are doing really, really well. He fit right in. I mean, and I'd say more than a fit right in. He's become, he does do a good job leading, and he hasn't been overly vocal, maybe because, again, almost the novelty, the newness of, just arriving. But you couldn't ask more from a guy than what we have gotten from Jaden. And another guy that just brings it every single day. So smart. Such a smart player, man. It's a pleasure to be around him every day.
Jaden Wayne seemed like he had an elevated role with some of the guys being out in the last game. How did he perform?
He did well. We threw him out there. He got a lot of reps. And, Jaden had a great spring, and he was doing really well. Then he got sick and dropped some weight and then was gaining it back throughout camp and is now just starting to fill in and start looking like himself. He played the run really well. He put some pressure on the quarterback. Did a great job. You saw him dropping to the flat and making that open field tackle. It's a big move for a guy who weighs 245, 250 pounds. So just a very promising career for him. Really impressed with what he handled, how much he handled as a freshman, and his workload will continue to increase.
Mario, how's Cam Kinchins doing, and what's the timetable for his return?
Yeah, he's doing well. All the guys that were not available for this game, they're all on the mend, and we feel good about those guys this week and the coming week. So we'll have more details as the week goes on.
How about Jaden Harris? How did he play?
He played well. He played well in his first start. You could tell he was a little bit nervous at first. Man, he's a very detailed guy. He cares a ton. He works really hard at it, and he once he got the jitters out, he performed really, really well. It's carried over to 2 days of practice where you see a lot more confidence already. And again, his role will continue to increase, on not only on defense, but on special teams. And he brings a lot to the table. He's one of the fastest players we have, So, and a great young man, so really happy for him and his success so far.
With Cam being out, was more put on James in terms of communicating on the back end?
Yeah. Well, we put a lot on James regardless, just because he's performed at a high level. I know Coach Guidry trusts him, and he's playing really well. You know, he really does. He's got a lot of energy. He brings it. He's continuing to evolve in the system as well. There's a lot of things that Coach Guidry hasn't called yet that we're looking forward to involving James in. So all in all, he's playing at a really high level, practicing at a high level, and so there'll be some more stuff for him.
Anything else for Coach Cristobal?
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Have a good day.
All right, folks, Offensive Coordinator Shannon Dawson here. We're going to run any questions.
Shannon, people around the country are kind of noticing this shift in this offense at Miami. Talk a little bit about that from your perspective. I mean, you've been doing this for a while, but maybe this is a little bit of a higher sort of stage, maybe?
I don't know. I mean, the thought of trying to win a game is kind of mind-boggling at times. You know, you attack to the end, right? And so I think that our kids have put in a lot of work. It's showing on the field. We got to put blinders on and just keep getting 1 week better, you know. Very proud of where they're at right now, but we all know how that can change, too, if you let distractions seep in.
There's been a lot of talk about the running game, which had more success this past Thursday. What about Chris Johnson, who got his debut and scored a touchdown? What have you seen from him?
Yeah, I mean, very dynamic player, right? Just young, trying to figure everything out. You know, for running backs, it's not just about running the ball. I think we understand that. I mean, protections are very complicated, especially when fronts change and all the rest. So getting a grasp on everything as a young running back is harder than people probably think. And so, but his skill set is obviously there. You can see that on that play, right? And so he's going to grow in the future, and we're excited about, you know, him learning everything and getting comfortable with playing football here.
What can you say about Xavier Restrepo and his approach and his production? It seems like he's a spark plug in general for the offense, too.
Yeah, I mean, very consistent from day one. You know, since spring ball, all through camp, you know, he's been the same guy every day. And his understanding in football IQ is very high. You know, his ability to get open underneath is obviously something that's very important in our offense. But he's made some plays down the field, too. And I think that, you know, if you look at all the games that we've played this year, whenever it became a time to somebody needed to step up and make a play, it's typically been him. You know, in the A&M game for sure. I mean, you know, you go 3 and out back-to-back times, and then you need something to happen, and he has a 60-yard play. It kind of, you know, ignited us to start relaxing and playing football. And then he had one of the same games Saturday. I mean, he played a half of football and caught 6 for 1 or something. I mean, yeah, very steady player.
Shannon, it seems like this year's group of receivers has been done really well so far at getting yards after the catch. Is that something you guys worked on? Is it being more physical, or is that just kind of like opportunistic, you know, things?
Yeah, I mean, we stress the point of getting up the field. You know, I mean, there's certain things that are in everybody's offense that's unique to that offense. I think something that's been unique to our offense, you know, from my lifetime has been, you know, there's certain drills we do and certain things that we stress of when the ball is coming to you and hits your hands. And a lot of people, you know, stress certain things, and we stress getting vertical, like getting up the field, drop step, get vertical. And it's all one movement, and it's all, it's stressed hard, ball security is stressed hard. But, you know, the yards after catch, I think the A&M game was like 240 something. And, but to me, they have to have a clear understanding of what to do with the ball when it hits your hands immediately. And I think that a lot of people kind of lose sight of that, you know, and we stress it hard, we drill it, and I think it's a product on the field of what we stress and drill daily.
What do you like about what Emory did in his time?
Efficient. You know, the whole game was fairly efficient offensively. We had 9 drives. We scored 7 touchdowns. The two drives that didn't end in touchdowns, we fumbled, and then we had one that, you know, what was it, 3rd and 1, and then we took a false start and didn't get the 3rd down. But for the most part, what I wanted, I should say, very efficient. Emory came in there, I think it was 9 of 11, right? So yeah, I mean, put the ball in play, and he had a couple that I thought, you know, when he scrambled to the right and he kind of put the ball in jeopardy that one time, that was probably his negative play of the game. Other than that, he was very efficient and very accurate.
Where is he in relation to true freshman quarterbacks that you've seen or worked with? It seems like he's a little further along at this stage.
Yeah, he has a good skill set and a good grasp of the offense. You know, I mean, his timing of route, you know, his accuracy and timing is pretty good for a young guy.
He and Riley Williams nearly connected on a big play. What
Yeah.
have you seen from Riley, who's been getting a good amount of playing time?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see that more and more with him. I mean, I think Riley's ability to run routes and get open is as good as a tight end as I've seen. And so as time goes, he started the year, you know, he wasn't playing. He had some things, but now he's 100% and he's going. You'll see him make more and more plays in the pass game as time goes. I mean, his body control and his ability to get open is unique. And I'm very excited about, you know, watching him progress.
What stands out about Temple's defense?
Very athletic. We played them last year, and I think they're a much improved defense from last year. We had to score at the end to beat them, and I thought, you know, this year watching them on tape, you know, they're more athletic. They get after the passer. I mean, I think they were top 10 last year in sacks, number 11 in tackles for loss. So chaotic up front, a lot of movement, you know, a lot of subtle D-line movements, twists, and stuff like that gives you issues. And they're explosive on the edge. I mean, they can get off the ball, time up snaps, and do the rest. And so they're much more aggressive in the back end than what we played Saturday. You know, they're going to challenge us and get in our face a little bit. So, you know, we know what's out there. You know, they're a very well-coached defense, very well-coached.
If I remember right, a few weeks ago you mentioned having like 4 games to play with Emory and Jakari. Obviously, Jakari hasn't gotten in yet. How do you anticipate, you know, utilizing him for those 4 games? Are you trying to like maybe use him in games that maybe with higher stakes against, you know, ACC opponents? Like, how do you anticipate using him, I guess?
I don't know yet. I mean, I'm playing that by ear. I'm delaying it as long as I can, to be honest with you. You know, I mean, you know, we're sitting here in situations that we prepare weekly, and both of them are prepared to play. You know, and so, you know, I go into games knowing that, you know, I have 2 guys to play, and I don't want to play more than 4 with him. And so it would be very careless of me to play him in games where I didn't need him or I didn't deem it to be a game that, you know, and Emory's playing at a high level. And so, you know, we're in a good place as far as getting our goal accomplished with him. Now, it's a long season, and so, you know, we're in week 4. So far, so good, right?
How's Jakari's attitude?
It's great. No, it's unbelievable. He's doing, look, I told him at the beginning of this year, I mean, I redshirted as a junior, you know, so I've been through it as a player, although a long time ago. And I've had, you know, through my career, we've redshirted guys later in their career, probably more than most. So I know the challenges that come with it. And I told him from the beginning that, you know, it's going to be a year that you got to battle boredom, you know, because you're not going to be doing a lot. You got to be dialed in mentally. You got to be ready to go if needed. And so it's a very challenging year for him, but the kid has been unbelievable. His attitude's off the chart. He's done everything we need to help us get ready for games. And if we need him, he is there. And very proud of him and the way he's handled everything.
What does he do well that you see out in practice?
Excuse me?
Jakari, what does he do well?
Well, I mean, he's got a dominant trait. You know, I mean, he's one of the fastest kids on the team. I think everybody sees that. You know, what he's done good since I've been here is he's developed the pocket stuff that we've been working on. You know, work on with every quarterback, not just him. You know, Tyler's the same way. We have certain beliefs in our offensive system that that playing quarterback from the pocket and making them defend the whole field is number one, and utilizing your natural skill set will become organic, right? And that'll happen, although there will be some scheme plays that exist. And so just sharpening those tools for him, and he's made, I mean, leaps and bounds progress from the beginning of spring till now. You know, he's not sitting here like in the spring. It was easy because he's taking, taking a lot of reps. Now, you know, reps are divided because we got to get Tyler ready to start. You know, so he takes the majority of the reps, and then the backup reps are divided between him and Emory. So you're not taking the amount of reps that you took in the spring. So the progress, you know, it's hard, you know, I mean, it might slow down a little bit because of the amount of reps you're taking, but we're doing other things in drills and things to keep up with it. And so his progress will keep going.
Is the red shirt still on the table for Emory?
Is it what now?
Is red shirt still on the table for Emory as well?
It is until he plays 5 games. That's the rule, you know. And so until you play 5, it's on the table. And so, you know, I don't know how that'll go. We'll see. You know. Yeah. Appreciate it, guys.
your defense has gotten 7 sacks through 3 games, I believe. Is there any particular characteristic of your defense that has really driven that to have a lot of pressure on the quarterback right away in games?
We missed a couple sacks. I wish we'd have more at this point. I think there was a couple holding penalties that negated that, and we missed a guy at Texas A&M a few times. So we've come free a lot. We've applied a lot of pressure. We've got a lot of tackles for losses, which is good. And we just need to keep playing with the same energy and start collecting more sacks. But they've done a good job up to this point.
And on that note, can you speak to kind of the next man up mentality? Because there's been a lot of moving parts on the D-line, and it seems like even going back to the second half of the A&M game, the pressure has been pretty constant.
Yeah. Even if I got the starters in, I'm a pressure. But it seems like we had to do a little bit more. So hopefully we get those guys back and start getting kind of in sequence again. But it's good for the young guys, you know, especially in the game last week. A lot of people got to play, which is always good. And practice isn't the same as game experience. When you get in a game and you have game experience and you do well, you have something to fall back on. So game experience is like key. And if you play well in the game, you're going to build more and more confidence.
How do you feel about where you are with pass rush without blitzing? You know, just your base 4. How's that coming along?
Well, I've never just rushed 4. That's what offenses want you to do. They just want you to rush 4. The times we've been able to rush 4, I was a lot better than other people, and you was able to just sit back and help your secondary out by rushing 4. But in this game, there's so much parity, and coaches do a good job of chipping defensive ends. Like when we played against A&M, I know our offense chipped their ends a lot, and it negates. So you have to apply pressure when you're trying to rush 4 when they chip in the end. So it's kind of a little bit of a chess match, but if we could get home with 4, I'd rush 4 every time, just 4.
Their quarterback gets the ball out quick. What type of challenge that pose for you?
He's very smart. He knows what to do with the ball, gets it out fast. We're going to have to knock down some balls, especially on early downs to get him in 3rd and long. But he's good. You know, he's a son of a former NFL great. So I had a chance to play against Kurt when we were in college. He played at Northern Iowa when I was at McNeese. Actually, his first start he ever started was against us at McNeese. And we got the better hand of the in it.
Jaden Davis has been off to a really good start. He got here kind of late. You know, what did he do to earn that starting position, and what do you think's made him have such a hot start to the year?
You could tell when he came in, he had a lot of experience just by the way he acted, the way he played, the way he communicated, and there's nothing like game experience, like I alluded to earlier. And he's just a plug-and-play guy. You can put him anywhere. You can play him at safety, nickel, corner. So he's earned his stripes, you know, and the players know that he has. And so going forward, he's a big leader on the defense, especially on the back end, and I think he'll play better and better.
Coach, what have you liked about your run defense through 3 games?
Right now, we're ranked high. You know, I know it's a big question mark going in how we'd be able to stop the run, and but we've done a good job. I think we tackled well. That's why we've stopped the run. Even on some plays that got through, we didn't allow a hole through the middle to, you know, get a bigger run. We came in and made the tackle and got them down, and of course, lost yardage plays goes against run plays. And so a lot of times when you sack a quarterback or you get TFLs, it goes against the rush. So, but I think we've done well. We need to continue to stop the run and make them one-dimensional, though.
How does Ruben Maine compare to some other freshmen that you've coached in the past? He's off to also a really good start. He got like 8 pressures already. He's doing pretty well.
I've never coached a freshman like him at the places I've been. I've had some older guys as good as him, but a freshman to be that powerful, that mature, he's got a lot of elite skill sets. He's going to continue to be better, and I'm excited for him in his future.
How is the core couch doing? He's
Doing awesome. He's doing really good. He's got a lot of confidence right now, playing the nickel spot. He messed around a little bit with corner in the fall camp, but he's kind of settled into where he's our nickel guy, and which he has experience at, and he's playing at a high level right now, and he needs to continue, and I'm happy with the way he's playing.
Evaluate Chase Smith's game from the other night.
Chase is, of course, he doesn't have a lot of game reps. You know, Chase is, you know, coming off that injury, so every time he gets in the game, it's a new experience, but he's fast, and he sees things, and he triggers, and he's got a bright future. The more he plays, the better he's going to get. I would bet probably on the back end of the season, he would probably be in the game in a lot more meaningful reps. But if he stays healthy, that guy's got a chance to be a really, really good one.
How did James Williams do without Cam in that game?
He did good. James, like if we're watching film and we're making checks, James is usually the guy that comes up with the answer first. Cam's always the more calm guy, and he's like the quarterback on the field. So out on the field, Cam makes most of the checks. He weathers the storms a little bit better, but James did a great job of leading Harris, which was his first start, and James did awesome, which I knew he would. James is really into the game plan. He's really smart, and he did a good job of being a leader back there.
Lance, what did you think of the freshmen who got a chance to play more against the Bethune-Cookman?
Had some growing pains. Some of the freshmen had growing pains. I thought Harris came in and he did well. I know he's his second year in, but he came in, he's building confidence, and he's playing well. Some of the freshmen were in there, and they really weren't ready to play in the game. But you got to get them experience at some time. So some of the young backers got in, and that was good to see. And, of course, our defensive line, a lot of young guys in there. So
Seems like Damari got a lot of time at nickel.
he did. He should have blitzed 2 more times, and he didn't. He didn't get the check, so he might have made a couple more big hits if he'd have blitzed. But he's got a really good skill set. I could see him being a nickel, a safety. He could really play everything. He could play corner as well. But I think a nickel spot's probably his best suited for him, probably best suited for us.
Coach mentioned the energy being quite consistent early in games from your defense early on. How have you noticed that's factored into limiting yards after catches, especially when you're trying to look to force a lot of 3-and-outs throughout the course of the game, in particular pockets of it?
I think it's the way you practice. I always was taught, and I learned at an early age in coaching that what you allow or what you expect at practice and what you hold them accountable to will show up in the game. So if you don't practice hard and you don't run to the football, that's going to show up in the game. But what you demand will also show up in the game. And now I think that's what we're getting right now. We practice really hard. We run to the football at practice. We put in a lot of plays. So when they get in the game, really the games are a little bit easier for us having a lot of energy. And that's just the way, I've always kind of done it and learned that your practice and your training has to be harder than the actual game. Because at game time, their juices are going to be high, the adrenaline's going to be pumping, and I don't know. If you get it out of them at practice, I think in the game they'll play a lot faster and a lot more physical.
Is there anyone in particular on the defense, maybe James or Candy, and someone else who has stood out to you as someone who can orchestrate that consistently at practice when no one's watching?
No, I think the coaches do it. The coaches demand it because it gets hot out there, right? So the coaches have to do a good job of demanding it. But the same leaders as always, Cam, Kiko, Mesidor when he was healthy, of course. Those guys demand their position groups to practice a certain way, and we as coaches hold them accountable. And so it's a lot of yelling out there. It's a lot of energy. And on game night, it's a lot easier.
Is Josh Horton getting any closer to being able to help you in meaningful moments as the season goes on?
He's a work in progress. He's just a freshman. If he had been here in the spring, he'd probably be further advanced. Most of the time, freshmen that come in are able to play early at any position. They come in a semester early. And so the defense is not like it's the second time going through it, almost a third time. So if you go through the spring, you go through the summer, then you go through fall camp. So it's really your third time going through it. But when you're a freshman and you come over the summer, it's a lot to take in. So there's the playbook, and then there's a lot of different things he has to learn about being a defensive lineman and then what he sees across from him. So it's a little much right now, but it's typical freshman, So he's getting better as we go, and we might need him down the stretch even more. So as time tells, and then sometimes I have to make my calls accordingly to who's in the football game.
What can you say about Jared Harrison up until this point?
Thank God we got him right now. He's a good pass rusher. He's very twitchy. He's practicing harder, which is good. He's getting more reps. And I think this next game and going forward, he's going to start playing better and better and better. You could tell that he's a lot healthier than he was. So I'm excited about him.
Have you noticed Brenton Dean's leadership carrying over after he came in from Purdue? I know it's only been 3 games, but as you're looking for that aggressive front seven, you have the freshman that you mentioned with Horton. What do you feel like stands out to you about Dean's leadership?
It's the way he works. He doesn't say a lot. We don't have a lot of talkers on defense. We have a lot of coaches that do a lot of talking, but we don't have a lot of guys that are like outspoken. But he's one of the bell cows for sure. He's a guy that gives a lot of great effort. He's kind of the leader of that defensive line room, him and Mesidor. And just excited that he's here, and he's going to probably have a great season.
Which coaches do the most talking?
Starts with me, but Nicholson. He's loud, man. He's loud. Coach Adai, it just depends. Coach Adai, you'll hear him when things aren't going well, but he's getting better at celebrating too. And then JT, you know, Coach Taylor, he's up and down, and then the big man, you know, Big Joe. So everybody has energy, but D-Nick is so loud. He's the only one that I hear over everybody.
Are you seeing much separation at all between KJ and Wesley at this point?
Not really, no. Certain ones do certain things well. Wesley's making bigger plays. You know, he's flashing more. KJ's probably grading out a little bit higher, more consistent on the average play. So we're going to need those guys. Flag played well last game, which is really good. And K4 was a little dinged up with an ankle, but he's starting to get healthier. So we need all those guys. And they're kind of all in the same pod right now, which is good, you know. So.
Off week after this game, can that be tough for a coach? You know, for the guys, how do you keep them engaged and stuff when they don't?
Well, in the past, on the open dates, what I like to do is, of course, you get ready for the next opponent going forward. And you also take everything that's happened to you, you make a cut-up film, and you go back and you work those plays again, those defenses. So you make your corrections. We do it every week, but then you take a collection of all the games you've played, and you make one big cut-up, and you draw up those cards, and you go back and revisit it. Because people, that's what they see. What they see on film is what they're going to try and hit you with. So you always got to manipulate what you do. Even if you made a mistake and you wasn't right, your players didn't do the right thing, you still have to show them that at practice, because that play is going to show back up. And it might be a different player in the game, you know. So you always try to do that. So you do a good job of looking at yourself and what calls you made, and then also the mistakes that you've made in the game, and you do those corrections, and that's really important in the open week.
What does Jake Lichtenstein bring to the line this year? He's an older guy, you know, but he's only gotten so many reps so far.
Yeah.
What does he bring?
He's dependable. He's a big, strong guy. He's a little bit limited on reps right now, but he's getting healthier, which is good. And so he's a guy that never messes up. Like, he's going to be where he's supposed to be because of his injuries and of the past. He's not able maybe sometimes to make a play that you want him to make or do a little bit extra, but he's always where he's supposed to be. But now he's starting to trigger a little bit more, like him going to get on that fumble the other night. So I'm excited for him. I think down the stretch he'll play better as it goes too, because he'll feel better.
How much are you intent on getting? Obviously, you want more turnovers to get more takeaways, like you're talking about Jake and stuff. How much does that get?
Turnovers is a funny thing, you know. So, I mean, you could work turnover circuits and all that, but they usually come in groups. You know, you'll get a pick, and then boom, 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 you start rolling, you get fumbles. You can just always, you know, you always practice with takeaways at practice, stripping the ball out and all that. Most of ours is on the fumbles is putting our hat on the football. Kiko's the other night, 22, so it really wasn't a strip. It was what we call biting the ball. They put their hat on the ball. And interceptions a lot of times comes from pass rush, not necessarily beating the receiver to a route, but the pass rush causes it. So I don't know how to. If I could answer that and really be able to sell that, I could make a lot of money, because everybody wants that. Some years we've had a lot of turnovers, and others have been slight, and you just don't know. You just got to take them when they come, and that's all you can do.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.